Hello everyone, welcome to my One Piece chapter 761 review. I apologize for the late upload, the late review, but honestly this has probably been one of the longest weeks of my life. It's just been so hectic and I'm exhausted, as you can probably see in my eyes. I haven't slept in like 2 days. Um little bit of little bit of dark spots under my eyes here, and I'm not gonna get into it, but anyways, the actual chapter, I got home and I was tired. I was about to just go to bed and say forget about it. I didn't get to review yesterday. I wasn't gonna review today, but I was like, what the hell? I read it and and I'm exhausted. So a lot of this chapter didn't make sense to me, and mostly because of how badly translated it was. There was a lot of confusion, but I did understand the main concept, and a lot of I was able to grasp a lot of the things that did happen in this chapter. So here's what threw me off right off the bat. I haven't talked about much of the cover pages. I really don't ever talk about the cover pages of One Piece because this Jinbei side story was just like, I don't know what the hell's going on. It was pointless to me. But in this cover page, it shows Jinbei reading a newspaper, and in the newspaper it shows a bunch of animals in chaos. They're revolting at a port city, and that's all we see. You see like a giraffe and a lion, and they're just going wreaking havoc on a city. So that was just really weird, made no sense. But what really threw me off is when the actual chapter began. Because the cover page went from animals to the first page of the chapter that was animals. And these animals in the first page of the chapter were, I thought they were slamming against the wall. It was really, really confusing to me. For a second there, I even thought that they were just going into like a subplot and away from the main story for a second. But then I realized that they were in Dressrosa still, and what these animals were just animals that were trying to escape the bird cage, and they were slamming their head against the bird cage and just going crazy. And that's why it kind of threw me off, because like the cover page, then this, you go from animals to animals. I thought it was the same thing, but it wasn't. So that was confusing. But the purpose of this is that the whole first couple of pages of this chapter focused on how chaotic Dressrosa has become. Fujitora and Sabo are no longer fighting right now. Maynard is questioning why they aren't fighting, and pretty much he got a memo saying, oh, they were too tired to get into the fight, too hurt, which we know is bullshit. Sabo and Fujitora are both fine, and we know why in the last chapter where Fujitora just let things be. And they're more now, I think, focusing on trying to regain control of Dressrosa, and this is King Riku's chance to step up and take control of his kingdom back. But everything is in chaos, and people are running around going nuts. And the thing that caught my attention the most, and this was really touching to me, is it showed a young girl, kind of like when Rebecca's age when she was a young girl, holding her dead father in her hands. And that was just nuts and really, really good, because it brought out the emotion of just how crazy things were, how much in chaos the city had become, and just they've lost complete control of it. The city is out of control. And so it cut, and then it segued from showing the girl holding her dead father to Flamingo conversing with Law. And Flamingo is basically telling Law how messed up the world is and how cruel it can be, and that's why it's a perfect segue, because you go from mother holding a young girl holding her dead father to Flamingo kind of preaching, saying this is bullshit, this government's messed up, the world's messed up. And this is why Flamingo is a great villain, because while he's maniacal, twisted, and just messed up and does horrible things, he has a point. And the best villains, whether it's in any story, are the villains you hate, but at the same time can sympathize with, and that's Flamingo. So he's really becoming just one of the best villains of the series. I have to say that hands down. But anyways, he's talking with Law and pretty much saying how messed up this world is, and then they start going talking a little bit about the past, and we learn that Law's devil fruit is more powerful than we originally thought, and Law pretty much states, his hatred towards Corazon and Law. I mean, the Flamingo states this, and it's convoluted at this point a little bit. It's very confusing, but he states that Law's devil fruit has the ability to grant eternal life. Bombshell, complete bombshell. I did not expect that. Really threw me off. Um, but that makes a lot of sense in the sense that Corazon was the original. They revealed that Corazon was originally the Opi no Mi devil fruit wielder or user, and then somehow it was passed to Law. So this makes a lot of sense in the sense, no pun intended, in the sense that Flamingo is jealous of Law, and this is why he was always pursuing Law because of his relationship to Corazon, or because Corazon somehow passed his devil fruit onto Law, where Flamingo probably felt like it should have been passed on to him. And that's why I think that makes a lot of sense. But anyways, the most interesting thing before I get into the actual backstory a little bit is they reveal that Law and Flamingo somehow years ago, I don't know if Law was involved, but the Flamingo reveals that the reason he has such a power, like Law was telling Flamingo, I don't understand how you're so protected in the world government after all this bullshit you've pulled. And Flamingo pretty much states that the reason he's protected is because of the huge secret he's discovered in Joe's or Marie-Joie in the capital of the world government, in the capital HQ. So, um, so now we understand that Flamingo has something huge, huge series wise, huge on the world government. He knows something, a huge secret that the world government does not want him to know about, which is which is why he has celestial dragon status, and which is also why um they protect him, even though he's done so much bullshit to the world government. Uh, Recently, they're protecting him. They're considering him a celestial dragon, and they've even made him warlord. So he has kind of like leverage over them. So this huge secret, what I think is that it's not the One Piece, because a lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's the One Piece." No, 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 no. One Piece isn't Raftel. But what I do think it is it's potentially one of the ultimate weapons that they keep referencing in the series. Um, so, with that said, I know I've kind of gone on a little long here. With that said, Flamingo is of value to the world government, and which is why after he's defeated in this arc, we're assuming, which is probably one of the reasons why Kaido and everyone in the government is just gonna go off their handles. Um, Anyways, the end of this chapter was they go into the flashback, Lost flashback bit, and it shows Corazon and all the young Don Quixote executives as kids. And it's funny because this Corazon is like a clumsy drunk almost, and he hates kids, and these kids are all around him, and he's just tossing them, and it's like, get out of my face, just throwing them all around. And then here comes Law, who apparently we find out in this chapter that he has exactly 2 years and I think 2 months to live. So he's dying. This is a kid who wants to just he knows he's gonna die, and he just hates the world, kind of like Flamingo. But he hates the world, and he knows he's dying, and he's just such a maniacal kid. And this Kurosan doesn't care. Um, he throws Law side, young Law, and then while after Law gets thrown through the window from him, he's like, "I'm gonna get this Kuro-son guy, or I'm gonna beat the hell out of him," and that's the end of the chapter. But the thing we get out of this whole thing is that Kuro-son was the original wielder of Law's devil fruit, and what they say is the devil fruit grants eternal life at the cost of the user. So what I think is, I think this devil fruit used to be Kuro-son, and then Kuro-son sacrificed his life to save Law from dying from his sickness, which allowed Law to live on, but Kuro-son died in the process. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. But what's interesting is, does that mean Law is immortal? I don't think so. I think maybe what they mean by eternal life is it has ability to cure like horrible illnesses, but I don't think Law can live forever. Like I think he's still capable of dying. Um, but we're gonna learn a lot more about this flashback and this story in the coming chapters. I'm sure. The whole next chapter is probably going to be completely focused on the backstory. A lot of this was convoluted. I can't explain this chapter extremely well just because the translation was so bad. But overall, I loved it. I love this chapter. I can't give it anything like a great score just because it was a little confusing to me. But I'm still gonna give it a solid 8.5 out of 10 because they finally focus on the main story. You know, when they start talking about celestial dragons, it is focused on the main story. So I hope you guys enjoyed this chapter. I've enjoyed it for what it was. I wish I understood more of it, but it was still a great, solid chapter. Next week there will be no One Piece chapter because, surprise, surprise, One Piece is on hiatus. But when we come back, I will continue this. I hope you guys enjoyed. Um, I hope you guys enjoy the weekend. I'm sorry if this review is a little convoluted. I'm exhausted. It's been a long week for me. Um, but I hope you guys all enjoy your weekend, and I will see you later. Bye.